Okay guys, so welcome to this second video. In the first one we were discussing about how to create the front end of the application in order to control a LED over the internet with the Photon Spark. So on this second video where I'm going to show you how to set up the back end in order to send all the commands through the application into the Photon Spark and to see how does the LED turn on and turn off. So if you remember, we have all of these. These are all the buttons and labels that we're going to use, and the non-visible component, which is the most important one, which is the Web 1 component. So now we move on to the block section. This block section is different to the designer section. In this one, we only have two different columns, which is the blocks column and the viewer column. In the blocks column, we have all the controls that we can do in order to control the application, and on the viewer section we will have like a drawing in which we are going to use all these commands in order to create an application. So let's get started. First of all, we're going to create different variables. I'm going to copy and paste this, and I believe that will be enough. And I will need some constants, string constants. First of all, this is the first constant that you will need, which is the URL that you are going to be calling in order to control the Photon, and we're going to call it server URL. The second global variable that we are going to have is the device ID. This device ID is unique to each Photon Spark. So for this one, you have to enter to your account in the particle.io web page and to see what are the variables of the device ID that you need to put in here. I'm going to just put device ID. But remember to change it when you are going to use it. The access token is the variable that is related to your account. So in order to access your device, first of all you need your access token. Once again, you can enter to the web page of particle.io into your account and see what is your access token. So for here, I'm going to put access token. Then we are going to need a variable that is called fun, or which is an abbreviation for function. I'm going to initialize as a empty string variable, and maybe that's it. I'm going to leave these two variables in here in case we need it, but I don't think we're going to use it. Then what we're going to do is that we're going to create the most important section, which is the how to control or how to send information over the internet. In order to do that, we're going to call a procedure. A procedure basically is a function that we do repeatedly various times. So in order to rewrite the code each time, we're going to call the procedure. So I'm going to go to the web. In case you didn't know that, in case you didn't know this, you can go into each of the components that you have on the front end, and you will see specific functions to that component, so that it's really useful to know. So for this, we are going to call set web1 URL. So we're going to put this in here. Then we're going to go to test. We're going to use the join function. Once again, we're going to do it to put it here. Here, for this one, we're going to add two more strings. Okay, there you have it. So now we're going to get the list of variables for this one. To put that in here, we're going to select first of all the server URL variable, then the global device ID, then an empty string variable which we are going to select, then another global variable for the function variable. This function variable will be related to the Photon Spark, because we can have different functions, and depending on the function that we want to call, it is going to be the name that we are going to put on this specific variable. So just remember that when we are developing the code. Then we're going to put the access token variable, in here, access token, and finally we are going to put this other variable. Question mark access underscore token, then equal sign, and that's it. Basically, this is a function that we are going to call. Oh, sorry, I forgot about something else. Even though we have here the function that we wanted to call, we need to send some parameters. In this case of this specific application, we are going to send the on parameter and the off parameter, which basically are the status of the LED. So in order to do that, we're going to go to the web component once again, and we're going to select the call web1 post text. There you have it. Once again, we're going to use the join function, which basically concatenates two different texts. In here, we're going to select the global variable of ID have one, but the name 5. I'm going to put global variable, which this is going to be the status of the LED in this case. And here, I'm going to put params, which it means parameters equals to to the global variable that we are going to use in here. And that's it for the web component. So now we need to create what action is going to trigger this procedure. These procedures can be renamed. I'm going to call it send to Spark, send to Photon. Okay, so what's next? Now that we have this, we can start programming all the buttons. We can select different actions for this, but I'm going to select the standard one, which is when button LED off. First of all, I need to set up this global function and this global access token. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to variables, select set global function, and I'm going to put, I don't know, a variable that is called turn on LED. This is going to be the name of this turn off LED. This is going to be the name of the function that I'm going to use in the Spark in order to connect the application with the Photon. Yeah, and that's it. Also, now I'm going to set what is going to be the variable that I'm going to send to the Photon Spark. Even though this is the function that I'm going to be calling, I need to set up what are going to be the parameters that are going to be sent to this function. Alright, so once again, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste this in here, and I'm going to put it off. Remember that all the variables that you are going to set, that you are going to send, must be strings variables. You can send numbers into the variables, but anyway, you can send a number and then you can transform the string into an integer number or whatever. After this, we're going to call the procedure. We'll go to procedures, then call. So now we can call this because we already initialized the two variables that we have in here. So we have the complete function that we wanted to call, right? So all of these variables have a parameter. So now we can send the function into the Photon. Let me check the designer section to see. Okay, so maybe that's it. I mean, it is a very simple function. I'm going to set the on function. What else we can do? Oh, alright, I have another idea. If you remember well, I said that we will use the slider to set up the velocity of the photon. So for that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use the join function. I'm going to put the put off function. I'm going to add another string in here. I'm going to put a comma, which is going to be the delimiter between the two variables that I have in here. And finally, I'm going to use the slider position in order to determine the the value of the intensity of the photon, of the net, sorry. So for that, I'm going to use this one, position. What I forget about doing on the last tutorial was to change the maximum value and the minimum value. In this case, we are going to use 100 and 0. In here also you can change the thumb position, the initial thumb position, but in this case I'm going to leave 30%. Coming back to the block section, I'm going to erase this, and copy this. Even though for the off function I don't need the slider intensity, but I'm going to leave that because, well, because it is easy for me just to copy and paste. Remember too that you will have one for the off button and one for the on button. So basically that's it for the back-end position. Remember that this is the most important section, that you need to check that you have everything that you need, and that the global variables are initialized the way you need the way you need it. Sorry, I made a mistake here. HTTP. Okay, that's it. So remember to check your global variables. Remember to check your calling to the web, and after that, basically you can send anything you may want to over the internet by calling the procedure that you developed. So that's it. Hope you like it, and see you in the next video in which we are going to create the program for the Photon in order to receive all these messages. So thank you and bye bye.